The Bronze Report is brought to you by theregistrybayarea.com. The civil rights movement broke down many barriers in the workplace for African Americans. Now, blacks make up more than 10% of the American workforce, but not so in the Silicon Valley. There, our numbers are dismal at best. And it sparked a high-tech civil rights movement called the Digital Inclusion Initiative. I sat down and talked to the man who is lighting that fire, the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Opportunities are opening up for some people, but not enough for us. And we bring to Silicon Valley, to the high-tech community, we bring market, money, talent, location, ability, but basically excluded. So at eBay now, for example, no blacks on the board, hardly any in the C-suites. Same is true with Google. We intend to change that. Just as we use our ballot to vote politically, we use our dollars to vote in the economy. So by being shareholders, we're able to engage them, talk about a range of opportunities. And it's not just high-tech work. Within high-tech, they hire lawyers and ad agencies, and they advertise, they target advertise. They do IPOs, they do pension management, they do merchandising. It's a whole range of things we can do. Unless we shake them up and wake them up, it will not happen.
What has been the response so far from the high-tech companies and from Silicon Valley?
First, they're embarrassed. They have these very progressive images of themselves. Look in the mirror saying how great I am, but then you look at the data. I mean, how can companies be like this? We have a lot of black and brown customers that's like a snow-capped mountain, all white up top and black and brown at the bottom. And we want our share.
As I walk around this campus today, I see a lot of people of color, but they're not African Americans. Is it specifically African Americans that you are talking about?
It's black, it's brown, it's multiracial, but they often will get people, say, from India or someplace, and bring them in and often pay them less, and they go back home and they do this work in a foreign country. Indian is just bursting at the seams in parts of Southeast Asia, and so they have people of color, so we distinguish African Americans and Latinos. When you think about a kid coming out of Stanford, black and brown and white kids like to come to the Valley. Black and brown kids like to go back home looking for a job. Same degrees. So it's not just a matter of qualifications. There's more of I'm convinced, more of a opportunity deficit than a talent deficit.
Some people even say that you're trying to shake down these companies in Silicon Valley. What's your response?
You look at Verizon, for example. We're about 40% of their base, 40% is black and brown. But $60 billion debt offering, and no black, brown, or woman got a dime, $300 million fee. It's unacceptable.
Be powerful. Connect. Verizon.
Firestorm created by racially charged comments.
Racist comments attributed to
the focus is on,
Donald Sterling.
Don Sterling on some ball game. We're focused away from what really matters, that is economic substance and opportunity. And of course, when children's parents have jobs, it affects. When children's parents have education, it affects. So more jobs, more education, we can begin to establish a pattern of growth and break up some of the despair that's now is gripping us with such ferocity, so ferociously.
There was an article in the New York Times about your campaign, and of course, it got some really negative responses. Some people ask, why isn't Jesse Jackson out there trying to do something about black males killing black males instead of coming into Silicon Valley? How do you respond to that?
We have a right to be here. If we consume, we have a right to be here. If we vote, we have a right to vote in the process. That's what makes America great, the right, fight for the right. But there are those who think that somehow stocks and bonds is the kind of white domain. It's been too white too long. We've been too removed from it. But these are the same people who protested Jack Robinson coming to baseball. Why are blacks not coming to baseball? Well, because of the market. And we brought to it something different.
And here comes Robinson, trying to steal home. He's safe.
Every time there's been a breakthrough, there's always resistance. Dr. King died. The very hated man. Why is he talking about the war? Because the war on poverty is going to war in Vietnam. We're killing abroad, not healing at home. He died with a 72% negative rating among whites, 55% negative rating among blacks. Why is he over there? Because We live in the world. We're global people, not just local people. And so we have a right to come to shareholders meetings, and we will keep coming and train people to come. Shareholders meeting is a great platform from which to raise questions, because the media is concerned, because you're dealing with the delicacies of dollars and units. The consumers are concerned. The government must be concerned. So, but unless we shed light on a dark place, it won't happen. And when you shine lights, rats run in holes.
Since all of these companies are making billions of dollars, what can you offer them as an incentive to change? Because they say, hey, we're making money without you.
Well, no, they make money with us now, because a combination of government contracts, that's with us. Sometimes 20+% of their base making money with us. Hiding trillions of offshore tax dollars and avoidance schemes at the expense of urban destruction. They're making money. We are in the deal. And it's just always amazing. We come to these shareholders meetings when people get very uncomfortable, because they know that we have the ability to affect the outcomes and destinies of these companies. We are not without power in Silicon Valley.
In the 60s and the 70s, we used boycotts a lot of times to get leverage. But nowadays, nobody wants to give up their smartphone or stop using Google and the internet. So how do we get that? How do we take
do
that
not
power and leverage
underestimate
it?
people's will to fight once they're focused. People begin to give up gold in the fight to free South Africa. Krugerrand, for example. People begin to give up the convenience of walking in Montgomery. They get digging into the buses. People begin to vote in big numbers to elect an African-American president. So once they have focus and goals are set, goals, targets, time, people are infinitely capable of focusing. And we may end up having to fight some country down here in the streets. We hope not. They must either change or face our power, which is withdrawal. We've suffered too long from their denying us access. And maybe they have to feel our absence for us to become present. Or maybe they have enough judgment to know that we represent the market and the money, talent, education, location, and creativity. You know, the one thing about the Valley coding and apps is creativity. And no one can measure who has the creativity, who has that special something. I mean, the head of GM's Department of Specialty in Designs, the top designer in the world for GM is a guy named Ed Wilbur, black graduate, Howard University. Design, not just assembly line worker. To the top designers at Chrysler, black designers. So we have the zones of creativity, the use of apps and codes, something that requires access to capital, however, and relationships. So part of being here is to develop relationships, access to capital, and of course engage in this new technology.
Where does this fight go next? Do you plan to keep coming back to these shareholder meetings until you get what you want? Or are there other strategies?
Well, that too. You know, it's just the fourth stage of our struggle as I try to sum it up. If the first stage, there's 4 stages, 4 movements in the symphony. The first movement was to end legal slavery. 246 years of slavery, not immigration, slavery. Then 100 years of legal segregation, second movement. The third movement, the right to vote, just since 1965. But you can be out of slavery, out of Jim Crow, have the right to vote and starve to death. But you have access to capital, industry, education, technology, and deal flow. And that's the stage we're in right now.
Is that another 100 years?
It's happening, even as we speak, it's happening. That's why a man from Florida A&M, John Thompson is head of Microsoft, succeeded Bill Gates. That's now. That's why David Drummond is so significant at Google. That's happening now. That's why Charlie Moore at Rocket Lawyers is moving so well. We have that now. So we're growing every day. Just don't go where we're well doing. Keep fighting, and we will prevail. We've never lost a battle that we fought. We never won a battle unless we fought. So keep fighting and keep winning.
Don't miss the second half of my interview with the Reverend Jesse Jackson on the next episode of The Bronze Report. We'll be back in a moment.